Will Smith. You won't believe what happened next. But stick with me. This is the story of a man the world cheered for, and the private storms no one could see. Willard Carroll Smith, Jr. It was born in West Philadelphia on the 25th of September 1968. A kid with a grin that could light a room and a mouth that learned to make people laugh before he learned to hide his fear. That grin turned into a weapon and a shield. On stage, it opened doors. At home, it covered the tremors left behind by a childhood moment he never forgot. The night his father hit his mother and a 9-year-old froze with shame. That memory didn't disappear. It shaped him. It made him determined, hungry, and convinced that he would never let his children feel that same helplessness. As a teenager, he teamed up with his friend Jeffrey Towns and became DJ Jazzy Jeff, and the Fresh Prince, playful rap, TV appearances, and a first Grammy that should have been pure celebration. Instead, it was complicated. Critics sneered that he was too clean, too friendly, too square for the streets that birthed hip-hop. Money came fast, then vanished. Tax trouble emptied his pockets and taught a brutal lesson. Success without control will bite you back. But the fall made the next rise possible. A living room audition at the insistence of a mentor turned his luck. Television gave him a new identity, and from there, he jumped into movies. He became the guy who could save the world in alien blockbusters, the charming partner in buddy cop thrillers, and later, the actor who could break your heart. Yet every joke and every action hero grin masked an actor desperate to be taken seriously. So he pushed himself into weighty roles. Muhammad Ali, a struggling father in The Pursuit of Happiness, a protective father in King Richard roles that peeled back the smile and showed depth, vulnerability, and endurance. Family wasn't simple. His father, Willard Carroll Smith Sr., taught discipline and toughness. But he also left a scar that followed Will his whole life. Decades later, sitting at his father's bedside as he died of cancer, Will chose forgiveness over hatred, a quiet, wrenching kind of healing that didn't erase the past but softened its edges. That work, forgiving the man who frightened him as a child, became part of the soundtrack of his life. Love came early and messy. He married Cherie Zampino and became a father to Trey, and for a moment, the hollowness inside him quieted. But fame is a thief. Long shoots, late nights, and temptation chipped at the marriage until it collapsed. The divorce was not just a legal end. It was the failure he swore as a child he'd never repeat. The hardest part wasn't headlines. It was the widening distance from a little boy he'd once held. That look of confusion in Trey's eyes haunted him. Repair came slowly and humbly, in small moments and patient presence. Then came Jada Pinkett Smith. Together, they became a power couple. Two strong personalities, each brilliant in their own right. Children arrived, Jaden and Willow, and for a while the home felt like a second chance. But honesty can be corrosive if it's not tender. They chose transparency and experimental definitions of marriage that drew praise and criticism. Public tales of separation and entanglement tested them. The truth: they've lived complicated, imperfect love, sometimes separated, sometimes joined, always trying to be honest with themselves and each other. Their story isn't a manual, it's a mirror, showing how love can both build us and break us. For Will, the cost of being a global darling was heavy. He chased respect like oxygen, shifting from sitcom favorite to blockbuster superstar to serious actor, always trying to be more than the smiling face on a poster. He trained, he reinvented, he risked. He won praise, he won awards. And then, in one stunned instant at an awards ceremony in March 2022, everything changed. An offhand joke about his wife sent him into a public meltdown. Walking onto a stage, he struck a fellow artist in front of the world. The applause that crowned him minutes earlier felt like silence afterward. Sanctions, resignations, and an exile from certain parts of the industry followed. He faced humiliation on a scale most of us can't imagine. But humiliation wasn't the whole story. What came after was a raw, visible reckoning. He apologized often and painfully. He sought to own what he'd done, not to smooth it over. That fall became a strange test. Would he vanish under the weight of a single moment, or would he let it teach him something deeper about self-control, accountability, and repair? Health and mortality added a new layer. A routine screening found a precancerous polyp, and the mirror to his father's death forced him to face his own fragility. He started a very public fitness journey, admitting that even the biggest smiles sometimes hide dark thoughts. He wrote a memoir, peeled back layers of shame, and let audiences see a man who was learning slowly and imperfectly how to hold his wounds without letting them define him. On the career front, some projects stalled, some soared. He returned to familiar franchises and explored new art forms, even releasing music again after a long hiatus. He's built an empire, a production company, properties, an audience. But wealth never replaces the thing he cares about most: family. Reconciliation with Trey, the growth of Jaden and Willow, quiet dinners with Jada. These are the small, stubborn victories that mattered more than any award or box office figure. So, what do we take from all this? That greatness isn't a clean narrative. It's messy. It's glory and grief braided together. It's a rapper who learned how to act, an actor who learned how to feel, a father who learned how to show up. Will's life is a reminder that the brightest lights often reveal the deepest shadows, and that facing those shadows honestly is how we move forward. If this moved you, if his story of scars and second chances hit something inside, do me a favor. Hit like. And if you want more stories that dig past the fame and into the human, subscribe. Tell us which part of this comeback you found most surprising. Was it the forgiveness, the fall, or the way family keeps pulling him back together? Share below.